Hello. What's up, everybody? Ugh. Flying solo for the moment. Let's see who's here right now. There's Bill K. There's Chauncey. Chauncey, are you going to Canterbury on Saturday? Let me know in the comments. Hello. It's Chauncey again. AZ Mick, how are you? Elliot. Nick Rudeau. Andy. Jeff. Well, on Thursday, I'll do a re-go over of Record Store Day and what I'm thinking, but I'm not set up on exactly what I'm doing on Saturday yet. There's so many choices. So I'm leaning, I'll probably visit 7 stores. So, oh, look who it is.
Is Jim still sleeping in Chicago with the fishes?
I don't know. I think he shared a room with everyone on his panel.
Good morning.
Morning. Ugh.
Happy Record Store Day.
Yeah, well, that's Saturday. We'll talk about it more on Thursday. There's a replacement for Jim. Might not be a good one, but we'll try it out. It's Elliot Cruz.
The second unit.
Good morning, Elliot.
Good morning.
Elliot, how many Hawaiian shirts do you have?
4 or 5.
Oh, gosh.
Well,
That's
you know, Rob,
Hmm.
I worked as a school teacher for 32 years, and I wore all these drab, khaki pants and an Oxford shirt or a golf shirt, a bland color.
Yeah.
So when I retired, I decided I was just going to be as gaudy as I could possibly be in my attire.
Did you ever do practical jokes on your students? I remember I had a science teacher named Mr. Boyd. He was also happened to be my back in the day when we had driving school. What do they call it? Teacher
Driver's ed. Yeah, I was driver's ed teacher for 7 years.
I don't think that's a thing anymore. But anyway, he had a thing once, and he's showing beakers of stuff, and he said this, human urine is this, and this is a beaker of it, and he does this whole thing, and he finally,
Then he drinks it.
It gets hot, and he drinks it, and of course it's apple juice. But he was, we actually, I remember I was being behind the wheel, and he was sitting, and 2 other students behind, and we're downtown. We're on, I think, Farrell Street, right near Union Square, where the cable cars are. It's really a lot of people crossing streets, and this young, beautiful girl crosses right in front of the car with like a mini skirt, and it's a warm day in San Francisco. The windows are down. He leans over and honks the horn at her, and he yelled at me something like, "Stop yelling at, or stop honking at the pretty girls,"
I think I was like one of the last kids to have driver's ed, at least where I grew up. But they didn't have cars for us to go out in.
They didn't have cars back then.
Elliot, I don't know if you ever saw these. You went into the driver's ed classroom, and there were these big boxy seats that had sort of a projection screen in front of them.
We never had those. No.
Do you know what I'm talking about?
But
We had real cars.
We didn't have real cars.
I mean, think of it, Elliot. Our generation is pretty lucky. I know people like to dump on boomers, but we had driver's ed, we had music class, we had instruments. At least California schools were great.
I did one class I took, still used today. This is how I learned a skill in high school that I use today. Typing. I don't know if they still teach typing in high school.
I doubt it. But I took typing as well. It was
the way I know how to type came from that stupid ass class.
I took a summer typing thing like in 4th grade, and I still can't type. I hunt and peck. I can't type.
No,
That's one of the few skills I still retain.
I wish I learned on it because I'm really bad at it.
But I taught driver's ed for 7 years, classroom and on the road, and that was the best thing possible for me because my daughter was in high school and entering college during that period, and it supplemented. People talk about these side gigs and stuff. That was my side gig, and it supplemented it. It enabled me basically to put her through college without taking out loans. So it was important.
Did your school have one car?
We had several cars. We had. I was at the middle school, but between the middle school and the high school, we had about 6 teachers, driver's ed teachers, and we each had our own vehicle.
Hey, Dan B, ours had an unofficial smoking area. The smoking pit, it was called, because it was a new building at the time, and it had the cement lower staircase outside the cafeteria area, and that was the smoking pit. But these were the hippie days. That was like 1969 when we opened that school.
We had a smoking area at school, and we had probably a 15-minute break between like third and fourth period or something like that. And everybody, whether you smoked or not, everybody would go out there and hang out. And I smoked for about a month or 2 months in probably my junior or sophomore year in high school. All my friends smoked, and they looked so cool smoking those Winstons and those Marlboros. I mean, they could blow smoke out of their nose. They looked so macho and everything. And when I smoked, I just looked like a nerd, and I didn't enjoy it. So it finally dawned on me that, you don't like this, you don't like the taste, you don't like anything about the smell. You're just doing it because you're trying to be like your friends. So I dropped it after that.
Yeah.
Hey, so on Sunday, my local record store, they started doing shows there. Like I saw Jacob went there. He did a performance. And on Sunday night, there's this guy, Carlos Nino, he's a jazz artist, more spiritual and kind of ambient style. And one of the leaders of, I think, the Los Angeles jazz scene, I would guess to say. And he performed there. And I got to meet him. He had his new record, which is a private. He's on, actually, that day, I went to Amoeba and picked up one of his international anthem records. I think that's his main label. But he issued a private press of his new record. Cool. And tons of great people are on here, like Marshall Allen from Sun Ra, and that Saul Williams, that he was like he's a poet or a spoken word artist. And he was performing there with this dude who I bought his album, Aaron Shaw. And a lot of people saw him at Big Ears.
Did you get him signed?
I didn't ask him to sign it. I took a picture with him.
Yeah,
I didn't have
there was a picture on Instagram, I believe you had.
Yeah, I took a picture. He was really nice, really cool. Young dude. He went to Berkeley. He's from Inglewood and went to Performing Arts High School out here, but he went to Berkeley for 1 year and then left. He goes, like everyone leaves after the first year, starts a band, but he was excellent. It was like they played it over an hour, but it was great. So really cool to see that.
Were they playing outdoors or inside the store?
No, inside the store. It wasn't. I mean, they didn't command that big. I think maybe like 30 to 40 people were in the store watching. Okay. But this is really good. This is his debut album on. The name of the label is Laughing Records. But really cool.
That label is such a joke.
Yes, thank you, Matt.
Right. I'm Harry's not here, so Harry drove us. We went down to Dr. Roberts Wise Memorial. It was it's like a 4-hour drive from Seattle. Harry's about 40 minutes from me, so we went to his house and he drove in his brand new rig. So it was nice for a change, not driving. But it's beautiful on the gorge, Oregon Gorge there, and we went down there, and there was like 150 to plus people there. I didn't realize what a big deal his wife was in the surgery world and the research world, and people from Germany and Italy were there, and I mean, they have a beautiful. It's a house that they had this other building built next to it. They're not big structures in it on their own, but together. And there's a walkway between them, and you walk through. There, and the kitchen, 2 bedrooms upstairs. The other room is, which I showed a little bit of picture on Instagram. This record room he built with another room behind it and 2 bedrooms, I think, upstairs. I shot some video. I don't know. I'm going to talk to Dr. Robert if he wants me to show it. But I didn't obviously shoot the event. That's separate. But his record collection and in that room is amazing. It's room to expand, a large open space. It looks out this big deck, grass area, right to the gorge, the waterways where people windsurf. And I mean, I tell you, you could stay there for the rest of your life. And it's beautiful, beautiful. Unfortunately, obviously, with his loss, but it was a touching time.
I'm
Now,
glad you guys were able to go.
We were the 3 that we were like his vinyl contingency, because everyone else, I mean, obviously,
thank you for representing all of us there at that.
We had to go, and it was good, and I think he did appreciate it. He said, but obviously his family, his grown up children were there. And now we have a report from Chicago.
Wait,
No, he was deported back to California.
I know you're back, but
I watched the panel discussion on YouTube. It was very good. Well done, Jim.
oh, thank you. I don't know how to use this. I can't see shit right now.
is there a Yiddish translation
Well,
version of it?
Jim, how about bring up the chat on your regular computer and then just
There you go.
I don't have internet.
Well, I think it's the first time we see his record collection at that angle, or we did for a minute until
Other
Did I
than
just
that,
jump out?
you're there.
Fuck.
do you not hear us? Do
Can you hear us? I am talking to the man in the little box.
I guess his
Evidently
internet is not working right now.
While he's trying to get that up, just a thank you to Mazzy for introducing me to this recording, this release. Mazzy's talked about it, so I won't go into any detail, but it's Land of the Sky, music from Land of the Sky, the 1925 Asheville sessions. I just got it, just cleaned the vinyl. And
Well, tell a little brief about it, because people don't watch my kind of rootsy videos as much.
I don't watch any of your videos.
Yeah. Well, they pressed that. They pressed this in Asheville at a pressing plant, downtown Asheville, I believe, which is, I think, very appropriate that they did that. 1925. This would predate the Bristol sessions that we note as the birthplace of country music, where Jimmy Rogers and
Bristol, Tennessee, or Bristol, Virginia?
it's all the same place.
The town is in both states.
The town's in both states. I don't remember. I think it was in Bristol, Virginia. Actually, I think it was on the Virginia side. But 1925, so it predates that. And one of the interesting things is 1925 is that watershed date in recordings for phonographs. They transition from the mechanical to the electronic or the electric recordings. And I haven't had a chance to listen or read the liner notes yet. I don't know whether they were using the mechanical, where you put the weight up, you crank the weight up, and
I think
give them the
as I
signal.
recall, I think they switched at this point. They were
doing electrical there.
Yeah.
Here. Well, that's good, because of course your range, your sound range.
They would do these open
Right.
auditions for people all around the area to record for free, and they're almost like scouting, and they whittle it down to these. And I think there might be more, but it's like a sampler, but it's really a good variety of stuff. And I found when I listened to this, there's a handful of tracks that you've heard from contemporary modern people doing some of these songs. So, and I like that roots music. Yeah.
Well, so much of the music is not really attributed to one songwriter, or so many melodies as well.
Yep.
A lot of this stuff is floating lyrics or floating melodies that are interchanged by people hear them and they adapt it to the lyrics they add to it, or they heard somewhere else, or they take a melody and create a whole new song from that existing melody. So yeah, I think that's one of the more interesting things about the folk tradition. Before it was codified into, songwriting royalties and things like that.
It's a cool label. It's a cool thing. Let me just quickly, Alan, no, it's not the same Dr. Roberts, the Beatle guy. This guy's a real doctor. He's a spine surgeon, retired. His wife was a surgeon, was an organ transplant surgeon and researcher. So it's not the Rip guy.
What
One,
I've never heard of a Dr.
well, you're not a Beatle guy. You don't know about that stuff.
Doc,
Yeah,
let's
I
sing
mean,
it.
There's a lot of Dr.
Elliot,
Roberts.
you and I, let's sing it together. Doctor,
All right, come on.
doctor.
So I know the conversation is going to weave around different things, but out of everything with the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, people will bitch and this and that, some good things. But in the influencer section, Graham Parsons, I thought that was a cool.
Oh, really? Interesting.
Graham Parsons. It's called like, not Sidemen. It's not that part, but it's like the influencer. I don't know why he's an influencer, but I mean, it's funny that they got him in a way on the side door rather than one of the main.
They did the same thing with Link Ray. They took
And Warren
Rumble
Zevon too.
and inducted Rumble into the Hall of Fame. And then I think in a recent year or two, they came back and put Link Ray in himself rather than just the song Rumble.
Right. So
Hey,
anyway, people
Marty,
are going
where
to
did you
quibble.
find a butcher
Phil
cover?
Collins, I'm so excited. Oasis.
We can get talking about that in a second. So,
Okay.
Jim, can you hear us?
Oh yeah, I can hear. I just can't see any comments, and everything's a little small on my little.
All right.
But
So,
But it's a good camera. It's a better camera than your other thing you've been using.
yeah, the other thing is really old Apple laptop.
You should ask your company, your publisher, to buy a new rig for you.
Well, the problem is they eliminated the videography department.
Oh shit. Okay.
Yeah.
Hey, question. So,
Fucked up.
some people, I think that Vinyl Latte guy posted your discussion on his channel.
Yeah.
That's where it was. Yeah.
So, tell us about, when did you get in the mix of things? You flew out Friday. Did you meet up
Yeah.
Friday?
No, I got in late Friday and everything was over. Apparently Friday was incredibly a great day. It was very crowded, off the charts. I had friends in the marketplace that did very well. And I ran into the guy Vinyl Needle, I don't want to say Needle Doctor, but the guy who makes the Denon 103 cartridges in Sacramento that PB Thal recommends.
Yeah.
That guy was there in the marketplace, so it was very cool to
Did
meet
he
him.
know that you had one of his cartridges?
As soon as I mentioned Patrick, he knew. I told him I had it, and I mentioned Patrick, and
Was he selling or no?
yeah, he was selling and talking, and he'll retip anything, any cartridge. So, everybody was there. Chad was there. Music Direct was there. Everybody was there.
Yeah. Jim,
AB was there. AB Fawn. I talked to Chad. I talked to Chad Stelly, who works with Chad. That guy's really cool.
The tall guy?
Oh, they're all
Well,
tall.
look who you're talking to, Wax.
They're all
Jim,
tall.
Jim,
just to clarify so people understand, the convention you went to was a
I went
audio-
to a high-end audio convention in Chicago called Axpona. It's annual. It's the biggest high-end audio convention in North America, and they do a really good job. It was really good, very well attended, over 200 rooms. I didn't get to them all. I screwed up. I should have gone in Thursday, but I was cheaping out, and but it was very good.
Did you see the DeVore room?
Saw the DeVore room. He had 096s in there. one of the more interesting rooms was, I think it was not Townsend, but I'd have to dig through my stuff. They're not really available yet. These little boxes with speakers in them. And the company, oh, I wish I could show you.
They're called speakers. Every
They're
speaker
little,
has-
but these little boxes, this is a family company that's been making these little speakers in boxes in England. And if you look at, they have a picture of John and Yoko at Abbey Road with their speakers behind them. Their speakers are all over Abbey Road since then. And these fucking things, I'll dig it up. I'll dig up the name. They were sounding great, but they're $5,000. And that was fun though to see the pictures of John and Yoko. There were a number of rooms that were really good. Our little spiel that we did on Sunday was, I thought, pretty well attended. Only 2 people left, and I had them both assassinated.
And were they on the panel?
Yeah,
Well, that
Two-
was my big question was it well attended? I'm glad to hear it was.
it was pretty. You know, Sunday's a tough day because that's when it's not the best attended day. But we did well, and people were into it. They wanted to talk afterwards. There was a lot of like father and son kind of situations going on, which was very
That's
cool to
good.
see. Yeah. I was heading into the marketplace and I see these 2 young kids talking to Michael Fremer, and they're like, starstruck. And Fremer's like so into it. And we looked at each other, went, there's a future, So there was a lot of good, positive things. There's a lot of very high-end audio equipment.
Did you see Andrew Jones? Was he there?
Andrew Jones was there. I listened to his speakers. Thought they were very good. They're very expensive though. 35 grand for the speakers and then another 70,000 for the electronics we were
It's
listening to.
amazing with all these. I mean, there's so many speaker options and gear options. And how do these companies make it the high end? I mean, because there's so many of them, and there's
they don't have to sell many speakers.
That's one thing.
That was my
They don't have-
question. I wonder how many they sell a year. Say somebody that's making a turntable.
Someone who makes a $3,000 turntable sells a lot. Someone who makes a $300,000 turntable sells 2 and does quite well. So, that's the difference.
Right.
And there's a lot of money at the very high end. There is a lot of money at the very high.
Like,
Not you and me.
I talked to an audio, like a high-end audio store. Guy tells me that he has a client that had like millions of dollar budget.
One guy can keep a store alive for 2-3 years.
Yeah, one customer, and they replicated the system in one house.
But how many
In
do
the
that
second
people buy? Does he keep buying the next version? I mean, once you have your gear,
Yeah, but Mazzy, I mean,
Yeah, but that's one guy. If you find 2 more, you can retire.
Mazzy, you have
and
a
I
small
would-
circle of a
Right.
certain type of demographic
Yeah.
that spends what?
Yeah.
One millionaire dude's gonna tell another millionaire dude.
at that level, though, I guess you could say this about any level, but I'm always curious when you're talking about, let's say, a $300,000 turntable or speakers, or whatever. How does one choose from this one to that one? Because at that point, how do you really tell the difference that this one's marginally better? Or
You use your ears. You have to use your ears. There's no other way to do
And
it.
I would think that these guys that are buying this type of equipment with this type of budget, these are guys kind of like I'm remembering a few more wealthy people in our town. They would buy a new car every year, and sometimes every 6 months. And I
Right.
imagine these guys are turning over equipment.
Sometimes, but not necessarily. Not necessarily. A lot of we're just guesstimating here, but I would guess that to some of these jillionaires, there's a bit of jewelry effect to all this shit.
yeah.
So I like it, and then maybe they want to, then maybe they redesign their house so they have to get new shit. But be that as it may, that's I kept going into rooms and thinking to myself, that sounds really good. And if $10,000 wasn't a lot of money to me, I would go out and buy it. But
Now,
That's not me.
Is there a price markup since there's a blockage in the Strait of Hormuz on audio gear right now?
There is, I'll tell you what's in trouble is this stuff.
Basically, the entire
This-
world's in trouble.
This has gone up. This has gone up. This is now worth $500.
Is that
It's
your
like
nail
oil
polish
based.
remover? What is that?
This is the Kermis cleaning fluid. You can't get it anymore. It comes right through the straight.
Hey.
But
Well, another example would be the Third Man, Jack White's Third Man subscription, the Vault subscription.
right.
It went up $20 a year. It went up $5 a quarter. Just got an email last week. I mean, that's not a lot, but still, it was costing me $75 a quarter to get those records, which I may or may not want. And now it's going to cost me $80. So,
And
you
think
know,
of that multiplied by everything else that's going to go up. That's just one
Yeah.
of your buys. Craig, my buddy Talk, Chris Talk, did he buy something from you? How do you know he's a great guy? He is a great guy, but how do you know that?
Hold
That's
on.
the guy I stayed with in LA. You guys met Chris in LA.
He was very nice. He was very nice. I met some great vinyl community people in Chicago. That was fun. It was a lot of fun.
Who? Do you
Huh?
remember the names?
Who?
There was a Greg, and
With one G
I
or
met
two
Zeb,
Gs?
and
Oh, wait. There's lots of Zebs. You didn't. Which Zeb did you meet?
Chicago
Well,
Zeb. I don't know. No, maybe it's not Zeb. The Chicago.
Hey,
know.
I'm
Yes,
sorry,
not Zeb.
all you Chicago guys, Jim had no reason to remember your name.
I had the tallest beard. We went out for pizza in Chicago.
You
Texas
met
David.
You met Vance, right?
Yeah, Vance. I met Vance.
Vance is a cool guy. Vance.
Sorry,
Vance is a very cool guy. I met
Vance,
Chris.
didn't think
I
your
met
name was
Chris.
Vance.
I met Chris. What's his name? Chris. Another very cool guy. Funny. You know what? I have to.
Was Lavelle there? Lavelle? Did you meet Lavelle?
Yeah, I met Lavelle. He wasn't at the dinner, but I met Lavelle at the show, and it was a lot of fun. I saw all kinds of YouTube influencers and that kind of shit there. I saw, if any of you know Skunky Designs, she does builds amplifiers. Steve
I know you
Gutenberg.
met Vinyl Latte because you're on the panel. Did you meet Vinyl Cappuccino or Vinyl Double Espresso too?
Actually, I was hoping to meet them at your house this weekend. Don't they show up at your house every weekend?
Well, this
And-
weekend we're having Record Store Day and we're having a going away for the Archivist and Todd.
where are they moving?
They're moving to the Denver area.
He says it all the fucking time, Elliot. How
Yeah.
can you not remember?
Well, he
Because
didn't know.
I forget things,
It's okay.
Rob. I just forget things.
If you watch any of the high-end audio video YouTube stuff,
I think
they were all there.
Ken McAuliffe was there.
Okay, I walked
You
past
see
Ken
a picture of
McAuliffe.
him-
I
seeing
saw
the
Ken
picture
McAuliffe.
Seeing the
Did you meet
picture
them?
of McAuliffe and Fremer is like a picture of Jim and Wax standing together, standing next to each other. Like it's like Mutt and Jeff.
I'm not sure about McAuliffe. I think McAuliffe got Record Collector News kicked out of that jazz store in New York where you go upstairs.
Well, I like him. I met him and I like him. I know he
He's a-
rankles some feathers or whatever.
He's his
but I-
own worst enemy.
well, I like him. He's on the right side of things. He might be one of those superheroes that sometimes you're not quite sure
I
he's a
think
hero or
he's
not.
in.
What do you mean right side of things?
He's
Well, I don't
not.
want to say that. I don't want to
Usually
say something that's in the internet that's going to get repeated, so I won't say that here.
You say shit like that all the time.
Well, but
Um,
I don't usually. Well,
I got to hang with Chance, Vinyl Latte, Texas David. We had a really good time, and
no
that
town-
show was crazy good.
How many people do they say attend?
I don't know, but I haven't heard any numbers, but I would not be surprised if it was 10,000 or more.
Wow. That's hard to believe there are that many people out there that not only
Well, we used to do 10,000 in
people look
Costa
at it.
Mesa.
A lot of people I like to go to those just to see. I mean,
Yeah.
95% of the stuff I could never afford or buy. But there's a smaller scale one. There's one coming up. Are you guys coming? Any of you up to Seattle for the one we have here? Was it September, October, whenever it is? Because they're doing it every other year now, and it's a smaller version. But I enjoy going. just to hear some things. Unfortunately, unfortunately, a lot
fun.
of the rooms don't sound good. They're not tuned right and they're not set up right. So there was one room I remember, one of the larger, smaller rooms, if that makes any sense, had these big ass speakers. I forgot what they were, and they sounded terrible.
Well,
And then we went in this other room where Peebethal was with us, and he ended up buying, not there, but later on, those small, was it KEF speakers or something? It sounded excellent.
well, Jim,
Yes.
most of the music source is like digital, right? Was that still the case? Was that the case?
Yeah, most of the, it's so much easier for these guys when they're demonstrating their equipment to do it digitally, and not have to bother setting up a turntable. But there were quite a few turntables there. There were quite a few, hardcore turntable people. Andrew Jones had a turntable going, but it was like I think it was a $26,000 or $50,000 turntable or something. I don't know. Oh,
Did you
custom made Thorn's TD124.
Did you hear AB talk about Impex, her presentation at all?
I did. I did not see AB's. I didn't go to anyone's presentations. I was there to
You didn't
sell
hear
ads.
Fremmer at all, and when any of his.
Did you sell any ads?
Yeah, I did pretty well.
Good.
I did okay. It was good that I went from a business point of view. I hadn't been in a while. Everybody remembered me and acted like I'd been there the whole time. So it was good. And it's good to see everybody. I ran into some people I hadn't seen in ages too. Some really cool people.
Did you
Heard
owe them
some
money?
great-
Or did they owe you money?
Nope. I wouldn't say that if they did. But
Did you meet Angie?
Who's
Jet,
Angie?
are these hookers that hang around all the?
no, I didn't meet Angie. It was too crowded. I did not meet Angie.
Who's Angie?
What floor do the hookers kind of congregate at the show?
The way it works is this: there are 16 floors of
Audio.
of audio. So you go up to the top floor and you walk, and the elevators are packed. You got to wait too long. So you go up to the top and walk your way down. In the stairwell,
Oh, no
that's where-
elevator? No
no,
elevator?
there's elevator, but the line to the elevator is too long. You don't want to wait 10
Because
minutes.
it's all old guys, right?
No, but you can use the stairs, and in the stairwell, that's where the hookers are.
Are there any stereo demonstrations in the stairwell, like the cheap seats type of things?
No, but it was a lovely show.
Did you find a copy of Cockroaches, the Rolling Stone faux test pressing that was secretly placed anywhere?
No, not as such.
Now, how big was the marketplace? How many dealers were selling there?
I would say 50,
Uh,
but they weren't all selling records. There was really, I think, only 2 or 3 guys selling used records. And my pal Bob Donnelly was there, and he was the premier used record selling guy. He did pretty good.
I'm
Tim?
assuming there were no dollar bins at this one.
Hey, Jim?
No one's going to drag records, for 2-3 days in a vehicle and try to sell them for $1.
I don't
What
think Mike
did
at the In Groove. He didn't go to Den Bosch,
No.
and he's going to do a story after Record Store Day. Interesting story. If anyone saw my videos at Easy Street of the banana, the Andy Warhol cover, this guy old guy, 85 CPA, lives on Mercer Island in a facility. For years, he collected Warhol and Basquiat artwork, and he started collecting any record cover designed by Andy Warhol. So he had about over 50 to 60 copies of the banana, sealed and otherwise, some very expensive copies. And as soon as I post that video, within 30 minutes, and he'll tell the details of the story, Esposito texted me, "What's up with those banana records?" And I'll leave it at that. After, he'll do a whole video on it. I shipped him a couple, but he'll do a whole video on those. Interesting story.
Can I ask you a question? Are your attorneys ready to sue him for a
Sue who?
commission? Esposito for a commission?
Why? I didn't do it for commission.
Oh, come on.
I was
deserve a
like
commission on
I was
that.
like a pimp. I'll show you. Okay.
Yeah, the
Wait,
pimp gets
I
the
send-
pimp gets
hold on.
5-10%, baby.
Here's what I
records-
got instead. I got this.
Okay, never mind.
new
You
one?
got that. That's
Oh my
commish.
gosh.
It'll work.
This one, which I don't wear because I feel I can't wear his face on my chest.
I have
Actually, Easy Street should have paid you.
Well, they haven't.
Commished.
They're good to me. Easy Street's good to me.
Hey,
They-
I have a story to tell. So last week, Jim calls me and say, "Hey,
Oh yeah.
I got a
I'm gonna
phone
make
call.
coffee while you're telling the story.
As long as you tell us everything you're doing as you do it." All right. So Jim calls me and says, "Hey, I got a phone call from a record store owner. He saw the video we did about the record collector, that notorious record store here in LA where the guy yells at you is like the soup Nazi." And then Jim says, this particular store is more of a punk, new wave, alternative. That's the most what they sell, and
Yeah.
t-shirts and stuff. It's a cool little store. And in fact,
I think.
I
Hold on one second. I think.
I was supposed to go Friday, but I didn't go until Saturday. And it's called Chaos. This is his
Right.
t-shirt. He gave me a t-shirt. And he called
Nice.
Jim and said, about a year ago, I got this jazz collection in. I don't really sell jazz. It's not my customers come in for. And then he says he has several. So I called him, and then he said, "Come on in. I'll hold the records. I won't put any more on the floor." Blah blah blah. So I went there, and I picked up a bunch of good stuff, and he was fair priced. He was very, very nice guy. And I even picked up I picked up a record for Vinyl Piper. Let me take the price off of it. But it was in the store on the wall. In fact, he has an in utero promo poster that's like 6 foot tall that he's selling. So I picked up a UK, this is a 12-inch single of heart-shaped box for Vinyl Piper there off the wall.
Nice.
So yeah. And
I think Chaos. Could I interject? I think Chaos Records also produces the Smiths Morrissey convention.
Yeah, actually
Which
they
is-
do.
Which
that's
is happening.
Happening in Hollywood at the Avalon.
Right.
Like in
Very
a week,
soon.
next week.
Something
And
like that.
he even says he hung out with a lot of, over the years, Morrissey's band. I think maybe his first incarnation of his band. So he knows a lot of the, connected in that way. So yes. But
And
I
where
also
is his shop located, Rob?
in Covina, which on any given, it could be 2 hours of drive or an hour drive. I drove out there.
How long did it take?
I stopped at a bunch of places. Well, I went to Rhino
Oh, yeah.
Records, and I have a big giant stack of records I picked up. Like I did well on Saturday,
Nice.
but I mainly picked up Marty's here. I just want to show this one record before.
Hey, quick question. Was my record there? I mean, my paper at Rhino?
Yeah.
You don't care.
No, it was there,
Okay,
but you
good.
didn't give me marching orders. I did find this not at any of those stores. I went out Sunday. This originally is recordings from the early 50s, so they were 10 inches. But I think this might be an original. They put it out on a 12-inch. And this thing sounds amazing. But here's what's interesting. This is Miles Davis Blue Haze, which came out in 58. But here's what was inside the thing. Is this prestige postcard that you sign in to get on their mailing list?
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of cool. I've seen these
Oh,
in
yeah.
the OTCs, but this is like an original postcard.
Very cool.
Very
Yeah,
nice. I wonder what percentage of records were sold through that sort of thing, because I know, being a roots type collector, I bought back in the 70s and 80s, I bought a ton of records from mail order houses and from just writing for a catalog from a record company, record label like that.
So here's another thing. And Jim, I didn't even know. So I went through Walnut, California, which I thought was in Northern California. It
Oh
is
yeah,
not.
there's a walnut down here too.
Right. And it looks like it's one of the wealthiest areas.
Yeah,
It's Walnut Creek up here in the northern.
right. That's right.
Yeah. So Walnut, the reason I went there is a Chinese version, basically a Chinese version of Chick-fil-A opened a location there,
Oh,
and I went there. It's called Wallace. And I went
Wallace.
there, yeah, and their chicken sandwiches are thighs, but it wasn't that great. But they opened
Okay.
a location there. But I've never been there. It's basically Covina, West Covina. Is that northern LA County, I think, right? Am I wrong about that? But
No. Oh, I think it's San
not,
Gabriel.
It's
No,
not Riverside.
maybe it's
So
LA County still. I don't
it's
know.
LA County. But I never knew this. Anyone who knows this, Walnut, it looks like a very wealthy area. It is equal to any of the nicest areas.
Yeah, Laverne is out there. That's where Upscale Audio is located.
Yeah,
Yeah, it really
the
is
people in
very-
Walnut don't make peanuts, so
No.
they're just-
I met United States of Analog. You know that guy?
Oh,
no.
yeah.
Very nice guy.
No.
Very, very nice guy. Normal dude. Chad was handing these out for his Chad Fest.
So
Yeah,
have
but they haven't
promoted-
officially announced it yet.
This is announcing it. It's
Yeah.
October 6th. Here.
Right, but we talked to his PR guy. They haven't officially. There's a reason he hasn't fully officially
Well,
announced.
it's no secret. He's lining up the musical acts, basically.
What's his name? Kobe's, they're gonna have a little, record fair there that Kobe's gonna put together. Vinyl Con.
Really?
Yeah.
How
That's
did
what-
he connect with Chad?
I don't know. I didn't ask.
Probably
That's what
because
Chad told me.
think about this: the PR people were at Vinyl Con in LA and the other Vinyl Cons, and they're
Yeah,
working with them, and it's
Yeah.
incestuous group.
Here's Skunky Designs. I really like her. She's a lot of fun.
What is she? That's
She has a YouTube channel. She has a YouTube channel where she rips apart amplifiers and puts them back together, and she knows a lot of shit. She really does. Yeah, it was a lot of fun. Very groovy time. Oh, does anyone know Keith Monk? The Keith Monk record cleaning device, the machine? That was crazy.
I thought that was a receiver for the Washington Redskins.
I don't know if you can see that or not. It looks like a spaceship.
how much is that? How
What
much
is it? It's on ultrasonic?
No,
No.
it's
Muck cleaning.
this is terrible. This doesn't really give you an idea of what it looks like. It has a nozzle. It runs thread through the groove. It runs a thread, and
Some
doesn't-
people
it's-
say it's the best possible cleaning method. I don't know.
I know some people who include it as part of their custom.
Oh, wait. How does it run a thread through the groove?
Or here's what it is. It squirts water, and for some reason, it puts a thread down to keep. I don't know. I don't. I used to know
You're
exactly how
not
it ran.
very good at selling this thing.
No, and the pictures
It
are.
doesn't make me want to buy it.
I
What's
mean,
the cost?
it's the principle of
It's
cleaning
probably
the
around
light-
8-9 grand. I think
Here's
it's
the
around
question, Jim.
7,
Is
8,
the
9,000.
Is the principle of cleaning it sort of like getting a colonoscopy?
Yeah, it's a colonoscopy right through each individual groove. It doesn't do like a whole side. It runs right through each groove, and
You snip the dirt out at the end.
it sucks it out. It sucks. It just sucks it. It just sucks it for you, Mazzy.
Okay. All right.
And what else? Oh! I got one of these. Seasoned audio file. My own devices audio. My own devices audio channel.
Is that a company or just saying someone?
It's a YouTube. It's a YouTube channel directed at equipment.
Hey, Shane Rocky.
Oh, here it is.
Oh, wait.
Andy Kim, Needle Clinic. That's the guy we got the cartridges from. Denon D103 modified. I think they're $750. They're awesome. Killer.
Hey, Wicked Exile is saying that the vacuum is on the end of a tone arm wand.
Yes. Here's Nagoka. They were there.
This is all the
Uh,
stuff you keep for a while, then you just toss it out in the recycle.
Hold on, Exponent didn't give you a bag of tchotchkes, Jim?
Oh, I have, yeah, but I dumped the bag and put everything in my backpack.
Hey, Shane, I didn't watch the Billy Idol Discogs video because I was there when they were recording it. I was at that event.
Hey,
So I
and
thought-
Rob,
Shane-
I wasn't able to get the Techniques turntable, but I did get the nice catalog for you.
all right.
My
I'll just
table will
have-
be arriving in a week or so.
Okay. Hey, please stop directing questions at Mazzy. Okay. So I guess Marty came up here because Marty mentioned in the comments.
Hey, Marty.
Yeah, can you hear me okay, guys?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So-
Yeah.
Is my
Talk
truck
about
too
your-
loud?
No, you're going to tell us about your big score?
Yeah, hey, you know what? I think I can, I'm actually just being pulled off onto a scale right now.
Okay.
But,
Call us
So,
back. Or is it
I'll,
good?
I got a quick story and then I'll bounce off because I'm hauling a load. But anyway,
We all
on
are.
on Sunday, I was sitting at home and getting on Facebook Marketplace, and there was a young gal with some records that she wanted to sell 30 records, some represses of Stones and Zeppelin, and some contemporary stuff that I wasn't super familiar with, stuff like Lana Del Rey and that kind of stuff, but stuff that I could resell. And so I contacted her, made arrangements to go pick them up at the at her place. She said her fiance would be there and I could give him the money. So let's see. Hold on just a second here, guys.
Did you get mugged?
You know,
Show us on the doll where they touched you.
there's a PSA all in this. If you're going to exchange stuff on Facebook Marketplace, go to a designated meetup area, like at a
Right.
police station.
Yeah.
Maybe a truckways station. Yeah. Exactly.
So I went to her place and her fiance Scott met me at the door and welcomed me in. I looked through the records and it looked like they were all good, and so I gave him the money for the records. And as a good record hunter always does, he always asks if there's other records for sale. And he said that he said, well, I've got some of my dad's old records. And so I said, well, I'd be interested in them. And so he went in the back room, pulled them out of a closet, brought them out, and there was about 40 or 50 records. And excuse me, guys. And so right on the top was a picture, was a Sgt. Pepper's, and then there was a White Album, and then right below it was a Second State, looked like, and I've seen that cover so many times, and you always look for the Ringo's turtleneck triangle or whatever, and sure enough, there it was in the stack of records. And there was a handful of other records too, and so I kind of played it cool, and we talked for a little bit longer, and I made a deal and picked them up, and I got out to the car, and Rochelle, my wife, was in the van, and I was just shaken, and kind of explained to her what I think I possibly had, and she said, well, let's just go down the street and take a look. So we pulled the van around the block and parked and I looked it over, and sure enough, it's a Second State butcher cover.
Nice.
And I never thought I'd find one. It's not kind of one of those things that you go out and, I mean, you can go find one in a record store for a high dollar, but of course, I got this for next to nothing with the group
It's
of records.
you said it's a number 6 on the back, right?
Yeah, I found out from Mr. Sticker Mania that means it's a West Coast. 3 and a 6 is a West Coast label. I cleaned it with the Humming Guru, but didn't.
What condition was?
Who cares about the record?
What condition was the cover in?
It's VG. It's got a seam split. It's not bad. There's maybe a little bit of ring wear on the back and maybe just a touch on the front, but it looks to be in pretty good shape. I measured the distance across because the guys were telling me that they were trimmed down, and sure enough, it's about 1/8 of an inch narrower than regular record
Yeah.
covers. And yeah, so I haven't even had time. I worked a
It's a
15-hour day
mono.
yesterday.
It's a mono.
Yes, it is a mono. Yep. Which I heard also that the stereos are more valuable, but
The
But,
stereos are more valuable.
I think so. Yeah. So I've been working so long I haven't had a chance to even listen to the record yet. The record's in BG condition, but I guess that's not a huge deal with Butchers. But at any rate, I thought it was it kind of made my day right before I'm about ready to take off on my 30-day motorcycle trip. So I got all these other records to grade and price and put in the shop. And
Now, it would have been really funny, Marty, if you and your wife pulled over to the side of the road and the van was rocking and that guy came driving by.
indeed, I made sure to pull to a place where he wasn't gonna come by.
Do
He
you-
wasn't.
Do you own a
Go
white
ahead.
no window panelless van?
No, it does have it's silver, but it does have tinted windows. So
And Marty, we'd like to tell you, here's the guy right here. He's coming right up. I'm joking.
who are we talking to?
No, like I said, the guy's coming on. I'm bringing him.
Oh,
up.
he's coming. Scott's coming up. I thought you meant you were bringing some expert or whatever. No,
Right.
this guy, he's not a record guy at all. The funny thing was, I asked him why his girlfriend was selling her records. She said, well, she started going to church again and she doesn't listen to that music anymore.
Oh, did you tell him? You should have told him.
You know what? Then I don't feel guilty. I don't feel bad about you kind of snaking it from them.
You know,
Yeah.
I think it's totally fair. You don't, and people are getting rid of it. They don't know. It's, you know.
Yeah, there is a little bit.
Did you
I
tell
don't want
him-
anybody to be.
Did you tell him you're not into Jesus anymore? Instead, you're really a doctor.
No.
Exactly.
Hey, Mazzy, when you discover Jesus, can you let me have your records?
Yes. When that time comes.
Well, congratulations, Marty. It's always
Yes.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Thanks, guys. I will. I'm going to duck out now, and I just wanted to share that cool story. And I'm headed out on my trip, but I'll try to keep in touch. And
where exactly are you going?
my buddy and I are riding our motorcycles down the California coast.
He told
Um,
us. On,
We're gonna stay at Chris's Vinyl Piper's place for a night, and then we're gonna cross the border and go down to the tip of the Baja.
Oh,
So
well,
about-
why don't you meet up for lunch or something? Let me know.
Yeah, I think Chris would like to arrange something. So
He's
it'll be
horrible. He's horrible at that.
it'll be the 22nd or 23rd, so it's like a Wednesday or Thursday, something like that. Next Wednesday or next Thursday. So I understand if people can't. Like I think Chauncey's busy and stuff like that, but it's not a weekend. But anyway, I'll try to make it happen where I can see a few guys, maybe go to a record store or two and just hang out. But,
Hey, now, Marty, can you write a piece for Record Collector News? How Jesus helped me find a Butcher cover?
That is a great headline.
Yeah, I'll put something
Good
together for sure.
Hey, I'm being serious.
It wasn't Jesus. It was a doctor. You saw the Red Cross lady.
Now, Marty, do you mind if I make an AI of you putting your head on John Lennon's head?
That'd be awesome. I'd love it.
did anybody happen to watch Jon Stewart last night on the Daily Show?
No. If you're going to be very highly political, no.
I'm not. No, but the best thing, he's shown that AI picture, and he looks at it, and they go blow it up, and he's looking. The guy that is lying down that Jesus quote Jesus is touching looks like Jon Stewart compared. It was so fun. It was.
Oh, that's
hysterical.
funny.
Watch the clip, Daily Show's clip last night.
It looks like Jeffrey Epstein, really.
Well,
As my
all the
as
views
my
look alike.
There's a
okay?
demon in the background that reminded me of Rob.
But, you
as
know,
as an anecdote to all that, yesterday when I was playing records yesterday afternoon, and I listened to 4 straight gospel records, the four for Christ album from some guys around somewhere in eastern Tennessee. I got so it inoculated me from all that.
You know the song, my favorite gospel song of all time. I'm drunk and I'm real high in the spirit of the Lord. You know that it's a famous song.
I
no,
don't know it.
never heard
You
of
don't know it?
No.
Hey, Elliot,
drunk.
have you ever heard of the Cathedral Quartet?
Don't think so.
What about Gold City?
Uh-uh.
Okay.
We're
Southern,
just not-
Southern Gospel.
A guy at my church knows I'm a record collector, and he a few months ago he said, Elliot, I got some stuff for you to look at. If you want it, you can have it. And went out to his van and van again. Went
That's
out
your
to his
first
van,
mistake, Elliot.
and he works for the county, and so he's back and forth to the landfill periodically, hauling stuff to the landfill for the whatever job he has and some sort of a repair stuff. And he found probably 200 records that someone had thrown away there at Landhill. So he packed them up, or he picked them up and brought them back with him. And I went through, and it was almost all Southern Gospel stuff. And I went
Oh,
through
awesome.
and probably got 25 or 30 records from them. They were all these independent or self-pressed albums from various
Yep.
small local gospel bands from East Tennessee, Western North Carolina, Eastern North Carolina, South Carolina. So
Is there a Southern North Carolina?
there's
No.
Eastern.
Hey, I just want to clarify. The song "I'm Drunk and I'm Real High" is performed by Ada Richards. You ever heard
Okay.
of Ada Richards?
No, thank you for interrupting, Elliot. Finish,
She's a
Elliot.
famous gospel singer.
Oh, that was it. I just got, like
Were any of them particularly valuable?
monetarily, no, but they
get you
end
into
up-
heaven a lot.
I think he was talking
several of them
monetarily.
were in really good condition, but that just goes to show what some people think what is something to haul to the dumpster for one person is something another person would really value if they could get a chance to get it. So, I enjoy Southern Gospel, and I enjoy
Well, the one record I found that I actually was looking for is that what's the guy, the gospel album with All Happy Day, the Edwin
Hawkins singers out of Oakland, California.
Yeah, I found a nice copy of that.
Steve Hoffman always talks about what an audiophile sound it is.
Yeah, it's a great sound.
Recorded in a church, beautiful record.
Yeah.
I have that from the Coleman collection, actually.
Well, if you're at home when you have that record, Marty, show it. Come up and show it.
No, I'm gonna be. I got a long day ahead of me, so I
Not
won't be
today,
able to-
but
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I will. I definitely will.
Okay,
I'm gonna say goodbye, guys.
right.
Have a great day. I'll be in the chat and hang out, but I better pay attention to the road here. So take
right.
care, guys. Thanks for
Take
letting
care.
me share
Drive
the
carefully.
story. Thank you.
You're in a
Here's a
10-10.
gospel. This is Jimmy Roberts. He used to sing on Lawrence Welk every Friday night. Whispering Hope, Jim Roberts and Norma Zimmer.
But she changed her name to Norma Zimmer, Norma Dillon.
But the only reason I have this is because he lived across the street
cool.
Yeah.
Wow.
with his kids. Mr. Helsley.
And that was
So
before
this
AI.
is-
Look at
I
that
would say
picture.
this is
Before AI.
I wouldn't say it's unlistenable, but it's unlistenable.
Hey, all right, I'm gonna bring up a screen right now. I'm asking that Mazzy please contain yourself. Okay. Here's the inductees of the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
You know,
And I think, hold on, I just want to say this first. I think there are two people in the Mazzy trifecta.
Oh, really?
Well,
Cooter?
here are the
Is like
inductees.
Cooter?
No, Phil Collins and Billy Joel are
Billy
the
Idol.
two
Yeah.
in the Mazzy trifecta.
Billy Idol. You know, this is actually
Oh,
one of the
Billy
better lists in a long
All right,
time.
so
What-
Phil, okay. I want to say this right now because this goes along with people saying it's a cash grab. I'm not particularly connected to the cash grab thing.
Yeah.
Because these are companies that make money. So yes, they are. So when people go, that's not rock and roll. Let me explain to you what the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame is. It's an organization. It's an organization like the Grammys. And the way they make their operating budget is by doing this ceremony and selling the television rights. And it's a music hall of fame. But that is not as catchy as Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
Right.
Okay. So all you people going, that's not rock and roll. Take a chill pill. It's a Hall of Fame for musical artists.
And,
And
and could I add to that,
influences-
please, Rob?
Influences and adjacent. So people like Wu-Tang Clan, Fela Kuti, I mean, they belong there, I think.
Well,
Oh yeah.
Luther Vandross is not rock and roll, but he belongs there. He's an important
look.
artist.
Yeah, and I'll tell you this: New Edition, not rock and roll. They got over 1 million votes by people, and they still didn't get in. So, what do you get?
And to add to this, remember if I'm not mistaken, the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame is a museum.
Right.
And
Yeah.
it's extremely important to be able to finance the cost of preserving the history of modern music.
Right, and
and,
they
you know,
probably do educational stuff and
They do
tours and
educational
all that
stuff. They obtain artifacts. They preserve artifacts. They create displays, and it is for anyone, any historian looking into anything related to that. It's a wealth of information that they can access. And if you don't finance this museum, they can't do all that good work.
Exactly.
Yeah,
for
but a majority
generations.
of their budget comes from doing this Hall of Fame induction
Yeah.
ceremony.
And Sade is not rock and roll, but belongs in this field.
Again, Mazzy, I just said
I know, and I'm
that this is a
supporting what you just
musical
said.
Hall of Fame.
I'm
It's
supporting
not-
what you said.
And we've all got bands that we think should be but aren't.
Yeah.
But
Good
that'll
list.
always be the case.
all
And-
right,
but look
let's
at,
go through the list. We don't need to.
okay, but
No.
let people know they're different categories. There's the performers here, but like Fela Kuti is more of one of the what
Yeah,
do they
but
call
here,
it?
yeah, look, here's everyone that's getting in for whatever reason they're
Graham
getting.
Parsons.
So you got Phil Collins. Yes, he's done enough to be there. Billy Idol. Yes, he personifies like pop new wave 80s.
Literally almost the first artist on MTV, which you could argue if that's good or bad, but
Okay.
he was like the face of MTV.
I
with
would
the
say
Police.
Iron Maiden. Yes, they're still around performing today. Whatever incarnation members shift and change, but I think their number one vocalist is the vocalist now, right? Bruce Dickinson. Am I wrong? All right, Joy Division, New Order.
Excellent choice.
Yes, I've seen New Order several times in concert.
Yeah.
Oasis,
Yeah. Why not? You know?
Sade,
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Luther Vandross, I believe. Yes. Wu-Tang Clan. Yes.
Yes.
Celia Cruz.
Yes.
I don't know who that is.
It's all rock and roll.
She's very famous. I don't know. What is she?
Celia Cruz?
Puerto Rican? What is she? I don't know what.
She's like 60s, that whole I don't know the exact genre.
Okay. Fela Kuti.
Absolutely.
I know who he is, but I don't know historically.
He's one of the biggest African
When
artists.
Patrick came over to my house, the only record anyone could stand listening to was a Fela Kuti record.
Yeah, that wasn't true, but yeah. Queen Latifah.
Yeah.
Queen Latifah, yes. MC Light is like more a third tier. Queen Latifah, I mean, she's a famous rapper, but
She's also a famous actress as well. So she's culturally significant.
yeah, well, her voiceover,
Graham
typically, you'll hear her voiceover.
Graham Parsons is an unusual to put him in the category of early influences. I mean, early, I guess 1968, early 67, 66. But obviously the International Submarine Band is contribution with the Byrds, the country rock thing, bringing that music.
Was he put in as a straight?
No, he's in him and Fela Kuti and Queen Latifah, or some of these people are in the influences of.
Okay, I don't know Linda.
The early
Creed.
influences.
Well, they should drop the word early and just say influences.
Yeah, they should. I agree.
I don't
It's
know
early
Linda
compared
Creed.
to now, but
I don't know Linda Creed. I'm
I don't know
assuming
Linda Creed.
some sort of executive type of person.
I'm surprised Arif Mardin hasn't been in before.
What is he?
He's a producer, executive. He's one of the big of Atlantic Records. Atlantic Records was his
Isn't
label.
Jimmy Miller
Jimmy Miller's a producer, produced the Stones and a lot of the British bands. Great producer. He definitely should be in. Rick Rubin too.
Yeah, and Ed
Definitely.
Sullivan.
Ed Sullivan. I
Ed
mean, he's not a
Sullivan
rock and
definitely
roller,
should
but
be,
he's did for rock and roll with the Beatles alone.
Yeah, no, it's
No,
just
but just all the music that Ed
but he was
Sullivan
a,
put on.
Ed Sullivan was
Elvis.
but Ed Sullivan started as a writer, right? Like
Yeah,
journalist.
he was a newspaper
Yeah.
writer. Yeah, but Ed Sullivan, he put on so many acts, especially the soul acts of the '60s that weren't, and maybe even the early or late '50s that weren't getting any overall commercial exposure.
Yeah.
He gave all those acts exposure for the mainstream audience that they never would have gotten anywhere else.
Dan B, I think you mean Tom Dowd, not Jim Dowd. Tom Dowd, the producer.
The engineer. Tom's mainly an engineer, but he produced some too.
Yeah, but not Jim Dowd, unless it's a person I don't know. Tom Dowd.
Is Tom Dowd in the Hall of Fame?
I don't know, but he definitely should be. The Atlantic guys and Jerry Wexler should be in there. Seymour Stein. Those guys might already be in there. I don't
As
know.
far as bands that aren't in there, everybody's got their list, but I think Tommy James and the Shondells, I just think it's atrocious.
I love that band.
But he and his
band are not in there.
Elliot, you're the only person here who could honestly answer this question. The other two are posers, but I love that Graham Parsons.
I've never been
but I would I would pick Ry Cooder before Graham Parsons.
Probably.
Because of his influences to other bands and artists and the bottle,
Yeah,
everything.
but you're
when we get to putting one against the other, that's probably not the best way to
Ry
look at
Cooder
it.
should definitely be in that
Wow,
category.
those were words of wisdom there, Elliot.
Okay. All right.
Massey's a fanboy.
I've ordered the new.
but
I've
there's a reason.
pre-ordered the new Ry Cooder album. By the way, have you pre-ordered that yet, Mazzy?
Wait, I don't know about this. What?
I pre-ordered a Ry Cooder.
Make Elliot big. This is a big announcement. What? What?
Kraft. Go to the Kraft website, man.
Hold on, I'm pulling it up. Ry Cooder.
What? I've been scooped.
What?
When I went to pre-order the Tony Rice album, the guitar album, which I already have, but I couldn't resist for $30 getting it. I looked through, and and I pre-ordered a Ry Cooder album. It's due out in May or June.
Is it a new or a reissue?
No, it's new. As far as I know, it's new. What I can tell. I have most Ry Cooder albums, almost all
Elliot
of them.
Cruz scoops Mazzy.
And I don't have that one.
Hold on, I'm here it is. It looks like.
Bring it up big. Come on.
Hold on, calm down. This is
Elliot School. You can tell the longest story you want. Oh, that's not a new album. Okay.
Yeah, it came out 2018. Elliot, Mazzy, you should have known better.
I didn't see what he was talking about. He didn't say.
But it's pre-ordered. It's being reissued, man.
Oh well, you didn't say reissue. You said it's a new album. I specifically said, is it a new album or reissue?
And I told you I did, and I told you I didn't know.
That's his last studio album. That's a pretty good album, actually. His son is all the people. Yeah.
It's not coming out till June. I think.
I've never had so much.
I'm having the vapors here. I'm having the vapors. I'm gonna go sit on the back porch.
I think the bigger news is Jim's doing a secret room house tour.
Doug,
you want to see it?
Doug,
Mike, I got no internet, folks.
No, Jim.
Can I show a couple
No.
of records?
I showed the wrong thing.
No, Russell.
Yeah, that's true.
Russell, I got it back. I kept it. It was close there for a moment, but I kept it. Oh, you got those.
Did you listen to him yet?
I've listened to this one several times. I haven't listened to the John Lee.
I
Hooker
have
yet.
an original of the Lightning Hopkins.
Yeah.
But I have, they sent me both those, so those are good.
Yeah. Triple A for anybody that cares. The thing is, Acoustic Sounds is involved in this. I think their pressing plant did it.
Actually, Chad is administering or whatever.
I think Chad is curating all of these. Matthew Luthen.
A really an enjoyable album recorded in '61, but it's it's Lightning and his guitar.
Yeah.
So
Sounds like he's in the room.
it does, but it's not an audio file recording
It doesn't, yeah, no.
by any
It's
means.
probably the best version you'll
I
hear.
think the VU meters were turned into the red a little too much on some of the tracks, and it gets kind of a
Distorted.
metallic sound out of his guitar a couple of times, kind of a muffled metallic sound out of the guitar a little bit. But yeah, great material here from one of our great artists. This is a craft release, and then this one came out simultaneously. So I got both of these.
Now, Elliot,
Yes.
there's a very big jazz component of that album.
I haven't looked at who's playing on it, but
Yeah,
Sam
Sam Jones is playing the bass.
yeah, and
Lewis Hayes on drums.
Yeah, those are the two jazz guys playing with him.
Right. I remember something about that, but they're great artists that most of their releases have been that we see out there tend to be reissues, compilations, discount labels, things like that. So it's nice to get nice, really good pressing of it.
Around 1989, Michelle did a photo shoot for a magazine. It wasn't Record Collector News because they weren't around yet, but it was I forgot what magazine, maybe a guitar magazine or something.
Jim doesn't pay for photos.
Yeah, I know. And so I spent the day with him and his driver, this guy. He lived down in Redwood City, California. And he spent the whole day there. Michelle did a photo shoot.
Wait,
we're having lunch.
John Lee Hooker lived in Redwood City?
Yeah, we're down the peninsula somewhere. I think it was Redwood City at that point. And he had opened the Blues Club in the Fillmore.
Where was he? I mean, most of when he was famous, he lived in the Bay Area.
Detroit, I believe. Wasn't he a Detroit artist?
He came to the Bay Area when the time we did the collaborations with Van Morrison. He was living in the Bay Area then.
Okay.
But we're there, and I wanted to beat him, and I came to the shoot. He told these great stories, and then they said, well, so we're going to order lunch. What do you want for lunch? And he says, can we get barbecue? And of course, it sounds so cliche. And there's a place like a mile away called Big Nate's, and of course, it was Nate Thurman's rib place. So we had barbecue in, and
to tell everybody who Nate Thurman is, Mazzy, a lot of people won't know.
Basketball player.
Yes.
Yeah.
Great pro basketball player.
Yeah, and he had a place, Big Nate's, a rib place on Folsom Street inside the market.
But before we stop on this, let me just say that I am going to be doing a album review for this reissue from Lightning Hopkins. So be on the lookout for that, folks. I will be
as I like to say to Elliot, thanks for the warning.
I just want to tell you, I have one in the can too. So I'm not trying to. It'll probably come out around.
Hey, Mazzy is starting a new series.
Well, Mazzy, I'll get 100 views and you'll get 100,000. So it's no big deal for me.
No, but I don't want you to think I'm doing it just because you're.
Okay, we'll put a link to mine. Put a link to mine in yours.
Yeah.
So maybe some people will come to mine and see mine. How about that?
But Elliot, Mazzy's starting a new review series. It's Mazzy reviews albums in the can.
On the can.
It's on the toilet and does
On
reviews.
the toilet.
Tim, save us from Mazzy's nonsense, please.
The Healer's a great album. That's the one with all these people like Van Morrison.
Yeah.
What's the song he did the duet with Van Morrison? I forgot the name of it. Anybody remember? Put it in the comments.
No.
I have a friend who had an opportunity to buy him a drink, and my friend goes, his answer was, "Old Lightning likes his wine. He likes his wine."
He was sitting on the stool on the set when Michelle was photographing him, and they're setting up the lights. After they set up the lights with one of her assistants, of course, before he got there. But he was sitting there and doing adjustment. But he's sitting on his guitar and just playing around. That was one of the coolest things. Just listen to him. He didn't sing, but he just kind of played around and fiddled. And I tell you, I wish in those days we had these to record that. It would have been so cool.
What's going on, Tim?
I had a late night last night. I went to see my mother over the long weekend, trying to fix there we go. So I got in late last night and I don't know. I'm just thought I'd join. I've got the little time to burn here.
Did
I
you
was in
say you went
Florida
back
for
to
the
Michigan? You
weekend.
went to Michigan?
No, I was in Florida for the
Oh,
weekend.
Okay.
Kind of north of Orlando. There's a cool chain of lakes area. Leesburg, Mount Dora, that area. Anyway,
Did you
Tell
find
us
it-
about that hat. What does that hat represent?
so this is a riff on the Masters,
Oh,
but it's a Grateful Dead thing. See,
oh.
Very nice.
Is there a version of the bear like running into a tree and overturning and everything?
No.
This is the iconic Masters logo, but it's usually a golf dude. But now we've got a dancing bear. I picked it up at Dead and Company in Vegas a couple of years ago. They have a whole, I can't remember what it's called. All the merch hippies are there, and they had to have it off site.
Vending. They got the whole vending thing out in the parking lot.
So what do you
Yeah,
think is
they did not have the dude in the pickup with the large helium tank for the balloons, but it was fun anyway.
Oh,
That's a reference to days gone by.
Did
so
you find records in Florida?
which member of the Grateful Dead had the better score, a golf score?
did you see any cute girls walking around saying, I need a miracle, looking for free ticks? I need a miracle.
I don't know. It was 2 years ago, Jim. I don't know.
Clearly, Bob Weir would have been the best golfer. I don't think any of the
That's
others
what I
would even know how to pick up a golf
sure
club.
about the cutoff jeans attire, if that would be allowed in many courses, but anyway.
Hey,
Bobby's, they were a little too short, I would say.
Tim,
Right.
everyone, I think, except for Elliot, is asking the stupid ass questions that don't deserve a response.
So I
Leland, there's a vinyl latte. Has,
shopping in Florida, and I had a window on Sunday. My mom and I had a little breakfast, and she was going to do some tidying up around the house. I thought, well, I'll do a 1 hour recon, and there was a brand new shop that opened last July, and I found 3 cool records. So yeah, I might do a video about it today.
Okay,
What'd
you
you
don't have
find,
them
Tim?
handy.
I have them right here.
No, let's see.
I got a UK Madman Across the Water.
Okay.
ooh, that's a DJM. A DJM.
It's not the translucent DJM. I was a little disappointed, but there it is. But these things, I mean,
Those are the best Elton John records.
these things the records were super clean. It was a little shop at a strip mall. This is, I'm kind of on a Rush kick. So this is actually the first Canadian on Anthem. I mean, look at this thing. Fuck. Look how clean this record is. So I was excited. And then, this is the second time I've seen this in about 3 weeks, but I already have one of these, but this was super clean.
Who is that, Tim?
The
This is
Cars.
the Cars, Heartbeat City.
Okay.
But it's
Yeah.
translucent. It's on QX too.
The Quiet 2, if you don't know, Elliot, I'm kind of trying to put together the entire set of these that were released in the mid 80s. And I'm almost there.
Nice. They're fine.
So those 3 records, he had a price tag. The total was $95. And I said, hey, man, I'm just in for the weekend. I'm from out of town. I really like your shop. I've got a YouTube channel. I said, you mind if I take a little video in here? And what do you think? Can we work on this?
You're a big
So
TV star. Why should you get a deal?
he knocked off $20 off the price. So I walked out with 3 great records for $75 and, help the economy and put them in
But
my.
now you got to make sure you do that video on that shop now.
Yeah.
I'm going to. I'm going to. I shot a little footage in there, and yeah. Anyway,
Let me.
That's
I
cool.
wanna, that brings up a question. I forgot what video. Somebody recently was it on our panel here or made a video, and he was going around shooting, and he said one shop they wouldn't let me shoot. The guy says no, you can't shoot in this store. What are your thoughts on that? To me, any kind of photography or YouTube, whatever, is promotion for a store.
Yeah.
I don't understand that. I understand there's privacy
But-
customers.
The
But
thing of
maybe
it is,
because
yeah,
he
no,
has
but
he has no
Just be-
control over it though.
Right.
If-
and he doesn't need your publicity.
How do you
Yeah.
know? Well,
That's his attitude. I don't need your shit. Goodbye. Thank you.
Look, look,
I
I mean,
I think I
at
know
the
who you're talking about.
I'm going to
Anyway.
tell you, like, here's a good example. A shop that Jim knows well, Atomic, here in Burbank. They don't need my publicity. They don't need our publicity. They don't.
No.
So I understand it. I don't think they would care if I shot video in there.
I've shot
Like-
video in there.
But if they were
I
a curmudgeon,
But
they'd
there-
say no.
here's a defining thing. Stores that don't really need your publicity. They don't.
Well, but the thing
Someday.
is,
Someday.
everybody needs some. sort of-
Mazzy,
maybe
you're
you're doing-
making a false assumption. You're assuming that these record store owners are smart business people. They're
Well,
not.
There's that. Is
They're,
that
that's a huge
you
thing.
know?
Okay,
Jim,
let's look at it. Hold on. Here's a better way to look at all this. I'm Tim. I'm a heavy record collector, and when I travel, I'm gonna come to the city and visit every record store I can. So he's already gonna do this.
Yeah.
The casual record buyer,
but
I don't
they-
know if they're gonna be.
waxed.
Yes.
Well, okay, I understand what you're saying, and there's absolute truth to that. However, I can't tell you how many times. Yes, you can pull up Google and get a list of whatever town you're going to, San Francisco, LA, North Carolina, whatever, of the top 5, 10 record stores, whatever. But I don't. How many times have I said, "Oh, I was going to Portland. I saw your San Francisco tour." They saw what the store looked like, the vibe of the store, and Tunnel Records is a good example of how many people went and that said, "Mazzy sent me." Even people who didn't say that went and discovered that store, and all of us collectively. Tim's done tours of cities, and I'm sure people have seen his videos, gone to a store. So it brings people beyond the fringe or beyond the normal.
Mazzy, I don't disagree with you.
Yeah,
Here's-
once again, you're making a false assumption.
Yeah, no, even I
Not
don't
a false
disagree with you,
assumption.
Mazzy, but any independent record store, 95% of their business are from local people.
Right.
And
But then you get those whales that come in like Tim and
but they're
Rob.
gonna come in like here's a
Elliot.
good example that Jim can kind of speak to more than I could. The whales, the guys coming in from Japan to buy all the records they can to bring back with them.
There
know.
also, I did take the courtesy and said, "Hey, do you mind if
Yeah.
I've got a YouTube channel. Do you mind if I take a little footage in here?" I waited until it wasn't busy. It was like, early Sunday afternoon. I waited until the other 2 customers left. And I'm not like setting up a tripod, and this is not some huge ordeal. Me on my phone I literally scanned the shop for about 30 seconds and I was done. And he was fine. So anyway.
I did something similar. We had a record store about 15 miles from my house. It opened in November, and I went in a couple of weeks after he opened, and I did the same thing. I asked permission to video, and I videoed it and did a video. And my videos generally get about 100, 150 views. That video's gotten over 600 or 700 views now of this record shop that I did. And I've been in there several other times. And, I was just waiting, like Tim was talking about. I'm sure I stirred up some interest because it was a new shop. People didn't know it existed. Stirred up a little bit of interest there with my video. But when I bought things there from him, never once has he said, "Hey, this is $75 worth of records. Just give me 50, man. I appreciate that video you did," or something like that. So, I mean, not
Well,
a
I'll
smart
tell you, here's my influence I have over people. I have a video. I think it's my most watched video, over 11,000 views. But it's the record collector dude, and it's mainly because that guy's the record Nazi guy who yells at people.
Rob, shut up and send Mike a link, okay?
I got a used record. I got a sealed
What?
used record. completely sealed.
All right.
Completely sealed. 1981, never been opened.
Hey,
Very
can you
nice.
just?
Oh, no, not
I'm gonna
that
burn
one.
that copy.
Sealed.
The only reason you have
Sealed.
the only reason you have it is I snuck it back
Well,
into your hand.
Here's a good
Sealed.
example. Here's what the beginning of the show I talked about posting the video of all the 75 Velvet Underground banana covers. Guy we know sees my Instagram story. I hook him up and spends literally, he'll tell you, he spends thousands of dollars on records at my local store. He would never have known that those records were there if he hadn't seen that.
But
So-
Mazzy, let's take your gigantic hand off of your shoulder. Or
No, but
tap-
anybody could do that. How many people have
Hold on,
they
Mazzy.
flip through a
Hold-
record
Let me
and they know a store has a certain record?
Mazzy, let me tell you. Here's the same. What you just said. Here's the same thing. I would go into a record store, and I have enough friends that I know, and Tim knows this, that I send them a picture of this
Yeah, I understand
record
that.
and
Right.
say, "Hey, do you want this?" They say no or yes.
But you
That-
don't always know
it's
that
the
person.
same
Well,
thing.
like I didn't know he collects that particular record in that case, so I wouldn't have said.
But Rob would know if he saw a Norman Blake record or
I would send it.
he would
Mazzy,
say, Elliot, I saw these
absolutely.
and I can get them
I'm
at a
gonna,
good price.
I'm gonna show you how ungrateful Mazzy is. This is how ungrateful Mazzy is. He didn't even respond to this.
You sent me a Beatles single that I don't give a
I
shit
sent him
about.
this picture right here and didn't respond.
Yeah, I didn't.
Do you know that?
It's an interview record. Yeah, it's. I do know it. There's a bunch of those that came out radio promos at Capitol Center. I do know it.
So I
Yeah.
do that all the time. Is it any different than Mazzy?
No, I think that's great, and I
Okay,
appreciate that.
okay.
And so, a lot of times, I appreciate that.
Most of the time, it's a pain in the ass, though, right?
Well, you're a pain in the
Uh,
So, I mean,
I-
what would? Hey, let me show some. I want to show some records till Michael comes up.
Hey, Tim. I didn't even say hello. Hey, Tim.
So,
I
Jim,
finally ran your piece. Did you
hey,
see it?
Hey,
Yeah, thank you
Jim,
very much.
Jim,
That's very cool. Very
Jim,
cool.
I made
Love it.
myself big to talk. Please let me do it. Hey, so the story that Jim, the owner, got these records. This collection he bought from a guy. The guy would open the record, rip it, and then put it away. So these records are like crazy, brand new,
oh,
clean.
nice.
Yes. Nice tip-on jacket. This is a reissue, so it's like he bought his records at a certain point in time.
Why does it have a Warner Brothers inner sleeve?
You know what, Mazzy? If I could put my head on all the dead people to find out information. This is here's one thing I just really don't understand. So this is a reissue in the 70s of the hold on, someone's coming in. Of the Herbie Hancock Dimensions and whatever. But they retitled it Succotash with Willie Bobo and Herbie Hancock. So this very nice clean. This was the most pricey record in the batch I got from him. Not, I bought it from him for a good price, but this is an expensive record. They did a series of these live.
Oh, wow.
Records on Blue Note.
Is it a blue label?
Yeah, it came out as that.
Yeah,
Well, the Black Bee. It came out as
yeah,
that.
that's what I meant. Yeah.
But this very clean, nice cover.
Is that a 360 or a two?
No,
or a-
it's just these are 70s. It's when the guy bought them. Oh, I
Is
did.
that one of the ones that Impex did? Monk's Time? Or maybe Speaker's Corner did. I think there's a good reissue of that.
Speaker's Corner did do it.
Okay, Michael, here's a question for you.
Sure.
So I found this.
Oh,
The Cure.
Oh, hell yeah.
This is a French pressing. And I
okay.
couldn't find any real information that if these French pressings are anything, but it had like in the dead wax, it has like an ant sign 1981. And I couldn't find any other pressings that had that.
Huh.
This is like nice and clean.
I've never heard of French cure pressing, but oh, sorry, go ahead.
I have a Dutch of that. It sounds great.
Yeah, I have a Dutch of Kiss Me, Kiss Me, Kiss Me that also sounds really good. But all my other Cure records are UK.
Well, I
and-
know like the German ones were sometimes the same metalwork as the UK, but I haven't listened to this yet. I have a UK of this. What else? This is a hard record to find. This is
I
a
hope you
direct
can remove the sticker off.
Oh, that's such a good record. Oh man, that's such a good record.
So I don't know Masha Tako Sach. Who is he?
No, it's the main record is Isao Suzuki. That's
Oh,
the
yeah.
lead artist.
But that's the guy who conducted it, but as jazz musicians, Hank Jones and
So is that a U.S. pressing?
no. There's no
It's
US
Japanese.
pressings of this.
Okay, it's only the Japanese pressing.
It's
Okay.
only Japanese.
It's just my copy of that doesn't have the obi, so I've never seen it with the obi.
So this, I think there were other pressings
Uh-huh.
that weren't labeled Nautilus, but I found this cheap, and this goes for some dough.
And it's have you listened to it?
Not yet.
It's
I
one of the
did.
best sounding. It's one of the best sounding records in my collection.
Okay. So I did find this. If you ever find an OG, so Dave Pike is a jazz vibraphonist, and he's very famous for noting with his voice over. While I was playing, he go.
Keith Jarrett School of
Yeah,
Jazz.
Glenn Gould. Yeah.
I don't
So
know.
but this is a psych jazz record that he recorded, I think, in the Netherlands, and it's very expensive. But this in '98, some U.S. company. This is the '98 reissue of it, which is pricey too. This goes for like $75. I listened to this. This is good. It's very jazz psyche. I'll go back to this one. Close your eyes, people. Nudity coming. This is
Uh-oh.
an Elsa album called. Usually, you see the one where obviously it's not this cover anymore. It's just Oliver Nelson in a like with a looks like an English chap outfit. But this is a very desirable with the.
Don't do that with your hand. That's creepy.
Stop showing that. That's enough. Stop showing that.
I'm sorry. I'm showing. Oh, and then here's a free jazz record I found. I was very excited to find this. This is something you never really always find. This Frank Wright quartet, Last Polka and Nancy, which is a festival they played at. This was a cool find. All right, everyone's bored senseless.
I'm
There
not
you go.
bored. Those are cool.
Yeah,
Where'd you find that Isao Suzuki record? Did you find that locally?
it was at Rhino. Sorry, Harry Lewis. It was at Rhino Records. Actually,
Oh.
Rhino. I prefer the old location that used to be in
Are they still in
Claremont.
Westwood? Are they
In
still in
Claremont,
Westwood?
yeah.
No, that closed down like 40 or 30 years ago.
Okay.
But the last remaining one was in Claremont, and it had a good trashy vibe to it. I liked it, but then they moved to Montclair in a more newer store, and I always found every time I went there was hit or miss. But this time, like I picked up a ton of good stuff there. So,
That's where I bought that Giant Steps reel-to-reel 7 3/4.
So did you shoot
wow.
a video at Rhino to tell people so they would discover it?
I've done it before, and people know it's such a far drive.
Yeah.
Like literally, if traffic's tuned, it's a 2-hour drive from. It took
Where's Rhino?
It's in
Montclair.
Montclair, which is about 43 miles from me.
Oh, that is Montclair up by Santa Clarita, or is it?
No. It's
It's
down
north.
by. No, it's east. It's Laverne.
Yeah, it's
Oh,
northern
okay.
LA County going into Riverside.
I didn't live in LA long enough to really know
Michael,
everywhere.
did you go to the Denver show this past weekend or no?
No, unfortunately, I've been way too busy. I haven't been able to
Just
go
curious,
to anything.
I was out of town too. Just curious.
I did find this at Amoeba. This is, if you don't know, Dudu Pakuana. He's a Cape
don't.
Jazz, South African jazz music. This is a live recording from 1983, and it is excellent. This Pensald singing, it's so good. This is.
I heard you lost your doo-doo when you heard that record for the first time.
I actually do every time I listen to a record.
It moves you.
It moved me to the second movement.
There's
Yeah.
Dimbosh, John, 6-inch pianist, that's got 2 videos of Dimbosh up. If anybody wants to see that, nice to see that show just how massive it is and everything. And Merge from the UK also did a video that's up now from the Leeds record show. If anybody's interested.
Okay.
I saw the Dembosh videos. I love watching those.
Hey, Fluffy. I watched David Byrne at Coachella. Excellent.
My daughter was there. She said he was fantastic.
There's a great Nardwuar interview at Neptune with David Byrne from yesterday posted.
Yeah, David Byrne's just basically doing the same show he's been doing for like 10 years with the band is all mobile and dancing.
Yeah, I saw that in Denver last fall. It was really good.
I saw him about 8 years ago doing
You know,
it.
the Nardwuar interview with him I watched last night. It's the first time I've actually seen a whole video with him like smiling and laughing. He's always so serious looking. And it was great to see him just let loose and not, you never know what you're going to get from Nardwuar when he comes at you and with those questions. So it was a kind of a nice twist to see him loosen up and sometimes caught off guard, which is great.
Very cool. What's up with you, Michael?
I've been pretty busy. I've been playing a lot of concerts. We just played a big concert last night, and so I have a day off today. And
Nice.
I'm getting ready. I've got another busy weekend this weekend. So yeah, and I just finished a Technics review. I don't know if anyone saw that, but
Oh, I was gonna
Uh-huh.
start watching it. My fucking internet died.
you know what was the really annoying thing though? There's always every video review you do, you always catch one little mistake that you made, and sometimes it matters, and sometimes it doesn't. And the mistake that I made is I talked about a Jackson Berkey record. Does anyone know Jackson Berkey?
No.
He was one of the co-founders of Mannheim Steamroller. He was a keyboardist, and he did a classical record, a really good classical record. You've probably seen in the bin sometimes, Sunken Cathedral. It's got great solo piano recital music on it. And I was talking about that, and I gave the right bio. I was like, Jackson, co-founder of Mannheim Steamroller, blah blah blah. I called him Jackson Brown.
You know, and someone, there's always that one person that's going to nail you on that stuff, you know.
Well, no, there's only one person that caught it in the comments, and they were like, they just were like Jackson Brown.
I do that all
And
the
I was
time.
like, oh, yeah.
I get a little dyslexic and I twist my name.
To Jim's or Tim's earlier point, that doo-doo record, I didn't call him Doo-doo Brown.
Now,
You got that
Michael,
going for you.
When you're performing with the Air Force Band, do you have a season where you're out almost all the time and then you're back on base the rest of the time, or is it just all year long?
We have cycles of stuff. Normally in the spring and the fall, we do tours, and it just depends on if it's going to be a full ensemble tour or if they're going to send out individual groups. 'Cause like this spring, pretty much every small group had their own tour. Like we were in Ohio for about a week.
What do the musicians do that aren't touring? Like, do they have things they have to do military wise, or are they just hanging out, like smoking pot and playing records?
We all have desk jobs, so we don't
Drug
do.
tested, Mazzy.
Yes, I
Hey.
have to pee for my country. But no, we run the unit. So like anything so we have shops in the unit. We have operations, which is like scheduling, booking the tours, communicating with the sponsors. We have a finance office. We have a computer shop. We have a travel office. We have a repair shop. And these are all made up of the musicians of the band. It's just a normal day is like we may have a 2.5 hour rehearsal. We practice for an hour or two, and then we do 2 hours of desk work.
So what do you think? I've heard that, is it Selmer that's going out of business? Is it?
Is Selmer going? I don't know. No one. Selmer doesn't really. I mean, they make oboes, but they don't really make oboes. Do you know what I mean?
But they're in the woodwind, aren't they? Or brass? The brass.
I thought I had heard that it wasn't that Selmer went out of business; is that they were outsourcing their production.
Oh, got it.
I think that's what I remember. I mean, Selmer is the only professionals that play on Selmer are saxophonists.
Got it.
And maybe some trumpet players. I think trumpet players sometimes play on Selmers.
Michael, do you all ever go to the schools, the elementary or the middle schools or high schools?
Yep, all the time.
Good. That's
Yeah.
very important. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that was most of our Ohio tour. We played 2 shows at colleges, but the rest of the tour was all doing high schools, and it was like a combination of like music students and various other, like sometimes they have a JROTC. And it's kind of like a combination of like educational outreach where we work with the students on musical things, but then we're also like getting the word out about the academy and things like that.
What
And
kind
now
of
you
music
can
do you
talk to
play?
us-
What kind of music do you play?
When we do school shows,
Country and Western
Yeah,
music.
school shows.
we try to do a short show that's a mix of everything. Like our last tour, I think we played like one little movement of a classical piece that was like about a river in Colorado. So it had some like,
Okay.
this is part of where we're from. We play what else was on the
Any
set list?
Sousa or anything like that?
Yeah, we usually do a Sousa march, like a short little Sousa march.
I would think that would be fun, man.
Because we
Mixing it up
tie
like
that
that.
we tie that in with talking about our ceremonial duties at the academy, like marching the cadets and things like that. And we always do something fun. Like this tour, we had like a little anime music medley we were playing. It had like some. It was actually one that I commissioned. That one of our arrangers arranged. Kids really enjoyed that.
And now
Very
playing
cool.
for these high schoolers, it's more important to them because they're all going to be registering for the draft in a year or two.
Okay, calm
Well,
down.
everyone registers for the draft anyway. It's a
Yeah.
selective service. It's
Yeah.
just changing it from
They've been
something
doing it
you do
forever,
when you
Mazzy.
something you do when you go get your driver's license. Usually in most states, it was a
Yeah.
box.
Hey,
you
Mazzy,
checked,
there's
and now it's-
incoming. No. Hey, can I do a shameless plug?
No.
Yeah.
I have no opinion.
Oh, shameless plug. After 3 years, over 3 years, my name is getting towards the top of the list of the Deckware amplifier waiting list.
wow.
Oh.
Yeah, so my 300B will be, I'll probably get an email soon. So I want to sell my Deckware
How long have you been on the list, Jim?
since January 2023.
Damn.
Little
Wow.
over 3 years. But I have another Deckware app that
And
I've
these
been
are-
listening
they
to
make
for a long
these.
time.
They make the amps to order, right?
Yeah. They make them
Okay.
to order.
What is it,
and
Jim? What do you got there?
That's a Deckware SE345, I think it's called. It's 2 EL34s. It's got a 5AU4 rectifier. It's basically it's an amplifier, but it does have a preamp in it, so you don't need a preamp. And it's got like 4 inputs, and so it's an integrated. It's an integrated amp.
A good preamp does matter though, Jim.
Well,
And I bet that'll sound really good with your Prima Luna.
honestly, the only benefit is the remote control. Yeah, it's got
Wait,
a
wait,
killer,
Hold
simple.
on. How big
This
of
is
a
all-
room?
what you should
How big of a
Jim?
room are you in?
I'm in a very small room.
Why
But-
do you fucking need a remote control?
Because I have a very large ass.
You don't want to have to get up and because when you're listening, you're in the sweet spot. You don't want to have
Yeah.
to like get up and fumble and
You
then you're
can
not,
you
know.
can adjust from the sweet spot. That's the point.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But Jim,
you fail to realize.
Go
that
on.
Room every 5 seconds.
I'll
Go on, Michael.
When you get your Deckware in, you should do some A/B comparison of listening to it as an integrated and listening to it with the preamp, and see. You'd be surprised what a good preamp can do.
Well, I know, and the Deckware guy admits it, but it's got to be a good preamp, and it has to match up. You know, it has to match up, and I think that the Prima Luna does match up quite well. I've had other preamps that I didn't think did, but the Prima Luna is quite solid, and it matches up, but it's not 100% necessary because this thing has such a damn good, simple preamp already. I don't know. It's a
but
very
how
simple
many-
design.
Are you able
Pardon?
to do a lot of inputs or no?
Yeah,
Oh,
I could
okay.
put four things in there.
Oh, okay. Now, how much
and-
power does that Deckware going to have?
The Deckware has 6 watts. So
You're
you
not gonna
have
be
to
able you're
have,
not going to be able to use the Harbest with this.
honestly, the Harbeth sound unbelievable, but they don't get loud. But they are so sweet, but they don't get loud. They don't get loud. But even though the Harbests are only like 85 dB, efficient, they are not hard to drive.
Well,
Now, I'll
no,
tell you
because
what-
they don't. The impedance doesn't dip.
And I'll tell you what does rock are the Legacy Classics, which are about 92 dB efficient. Those rock with this thing, but you know, it's none of these are the exact correct speaker for a 6-watt amp. And when you do get, when you get something around, once I get my 096s, what's his name? What's the guy in Brooklyn?
DeVore.
John DeVore.
John DeVore.
You're
Once
gonna get 090. You're gonna get 096s.
Well, and then I woke up.
Oh.
They're like 12 grand or something. Yeah.
Yeah.
Brand new. But
You know,
can
you
get a
should
used
you should
pair.
go listen to. I'm reviewing them right now. You should go listen to these Simco One speakers that Stefan has.
Oh, really?
They're very. If you like the DeVore sound, you're gonna. I mean, do you know the like Rob was there when we listened to Stefan's story. You didn't come with us, but
No, I don't know the story. I was in DeVore at Axpona, and quite honestly, I was not blown away. But it's hard to set up a small room.
well, I don't have enough experience with the 9.6s. I know people really like the 9.6s, and I heard them once at Common Wave, and I really liked them.
Oh,
I've
Common
heard the
Way was there.
I've heard the 9.2s a lot more, or the 9.3s. Sorry, the
The
9.3s.
9.3s.
Those I'm not a huge fan of. When you push those, something happens to the vocals, because I did a shootout with them in the Harbeth 30s, and the thing I really liked, like when I listened to the 9.3s, I listened to some orchestral music on them, and it was so expansive, and it just this amazing thing with the sound stage, and there was like this transparency in the string tone. But then when I listened to some rock on them, it was like the vocals started smearing when the speaker got really driven. And we switched to the Harbeth, and it was like the Harbeth had the punch and the power, and the vocals were crystal clear and sweet. And it was like,
Right.
That's my speaker right there. It's
Right. That was the thing about when I had 6 watts powering these totally inefficient PS E3Rs or whatever. There was a sweetness, but it just couldn't get loud. You couldn't really do rock. You couldn't rock.
I'm starting to be of the opinion, especially now that I had that $12,000 Audio Research tube amp in that had the KT 150s.
Right.
That was a very fine amp. I'm just starting to be of the opinion that I don't think for power amps, I don't think tubes that there's something about the bass that isn't right with tube amps that just bothers me. I love tubes. I have a tube preamplifier. I have a tube phonostage. I don't think I'm ever going to have a tube power amplifier. I think I'm going to stick with solid state for the power amps.
Well, here's my little whatever. The only tube power amp I'm interested in going forward is going to be this 300B that I'm getting from Deckware, because that is the sort of epitome of tubes. The 300B is like a super fine tube. Other than
what kind of speaker would you need for like?
Well, for now, you would need an open baffle something that doesn't, but I still want to have that sweet SET sound. I know some people don't like it, but for everyday use, for me, it's exactly what you said, Michael. I want a solid state amp with a tube preamp and maybe a tube or solid state phono pre. But I love that solid state punch, and then you can sort of sweeten it up with the tube preamp.
Now, does the Prima Luna have the switchable preamp outputs where you can switch between amps or no?
It has 2 outputs, but it's not. You would have to unplug one.
Gotcha. Okay.
Which I've done. That's what I do. I just unplug one of them.
So are you going to move on the other Deckware, Jim? Is that what this is all about?
So I'm moving on the
Can we move them closer to each other, Rob, so they can work out a deal?
Here's the deal. Tim, I'm sorry to
Get some
inform
more
you.
coffee.
Jim's been trying to sell this Deckware amp.
No, I've never ever
Yeah.
tried to sell. I've talked about it, but I've
Really?
never actually listed it for sale ever.
I don't want to be in between these two. Please, can you move me,
There could
please?
be a
Elliot,
premium
can you
because
help
you're
Lazzy
skipping
as
the
well?
line. You're enabling
Skipping
someone.
the line. So this is a $2,500. This is a $2,500 integrated amp. If you wanted to buy this, exact unit from new from Deckware, it'd be about $2,500 and a 3-year wait.
Yeah.
I can get you one right now. Let's say for $2,250 with all the tubes.
Wait a second. How long have you had
Those
that?
could power Cornwalls.
Oh, easy. Guys use this. I was at Expona. A guy there is using this exact amp with Cornwalls, and that's it. It's
I can
Tim,
get
you
into
have
a
a Fisher, right?
Plymouth for under 2250.
I have a vintage integrated Scott 233. Yeah, it's really cool. But then I have for solid state, but I haven't had it hooked up. I've got a really nice Macintosh MA 6100. That's real.
You should probably hook that up.
Yeah.
Okay, well, let me say one more thing about the Deckware.
Only one.
Okay.
I'm not interested in that, but I'm curious. I'm always curious to hear about this stuff. Go ahead.
So when you buy one of these used, these Deckware amps come with a lifetime guarantee. So when you buy one used, they give you the opportunity to send it to them, and for $300 they'll look it over, and if there needs to be anything done, it'll be done. But then you get the lifetime warranty on it. So I just want to.
Okay, let me ask you.
My guess is that Deckware would be. I bet that could. I don't know if it could. I don't know if it could compete against a Fisher, but I bet it could beat out a Scott.
Hey,
Yeah.
Jim.
Yeah.
Jim,
What?
if they have a 3-year wait list to get an amp from them, how long does it take for them to look over your thing that you send in?
No, they do that right away. They do that kind of stuff right away. It's just to build these things one after another, but they take care of, they have certain other parts of their business that are much faster. And they have a lot of other products that is nowhere near as long a waiting list. You can buy speakers from them faster. They sell
You know what?
other shit.
You know what amp has really impressed me in the last couple weeks is I'm doing this video on a the Absolute Sound asked me to do a video where I assemble a system for 15K. And the turntable for that system hasn't come in yet, but the amp I picked it's the Luxman 505Z. It's the cheapest Luxman.
Oh, I'll bet
they
that's
make right now.
awesome.
It's like $6,500. It's expensive, but it's not. It's expensive, but it's not like crazy, you know.
Right.
That thing kicks ass. It is such a good integrated amplifier.
Yeah.
It's got a great phono stage in it, and I was working on the review for these Simco speakers, these horn speakers, and I thought, because like my Hagel is 350 watts per channel, it's too powerful to use with a 96 dB efficient horn speaker.
Right.
It just is, and so I was like, the other amp I had to review these speakers with was that 80 watt per channel Audio Research. Now, Audio Research has always been on the side, more the analytical side of tubes.
Right.
But I hooked it up with that speaker, and it was just like, you know, I'm very fortunate that I've heard that speaker before. I heard it at Stefan's place, and it sounded good. And I hooked it up with that Audio Research in my system, and I was like, this is making my ears bleed. It's so bright and tinny, and
bummer. And
then I hooked the Luxman up. And the Luxman is like 100 watts per channel. And I'm like, is this going to be a right match for like a horn speaker?
Right.
I hooked the Luxman up. It's smooth. It's powerful. It's got punchy bass. It sounds so good with that Simco. That Simco speaker. I'm really happy I had the amps on hand where I could do that because, it just goes to show amplifiers matter.
Hey, Mike, real quick, I want to change the subject a little bit. So are you familiar? I'm sure you're familiar with this dude.
Yeah, Masayoshi Takanaka. He's been playing in LA recently.
Like a world tour that's sold out everywhere. I think he played 2 nights at the Palladium here.
Yeah.
For people who don't know, can you tell people about him?
So he's a Takanaka. He's a jazz fusion guitarist that was really active in the 70s and the 80s. His music has gone through a renaissance recently. Everyone
like 20 somethings or discovering.
Yep. He's been very popular for a couple years now.
You're calling him more jazz fusion. He's not technically city pop at all.
No, very few of his records have vocals on them. Mostly it's instrumental. It's the same music to me. It's more jazz fusion. It's smooth jazz fusion.
There's a guy on Instagram I follow that does these kind of cool T-shirts, and he's doing the T-shirts for that guy right now, I think.
Yeah,
I
will say
T-shirts.
Yeah, Takanaka's got a lot of records, and people go crazy for his whole catalog. And I'm not the biggest fan of I think he's got some records that just sound like kind of filler to me. But there's a couple records.
I looked at one called Goblins.
Yes, that's the best one. Rainbow Goblins. It's like a prog jazz rock masterpiece. It's so good.
But there's a song where there's a kick out Goblin.
Yeah. That one is really good. Insatiable High is another one of his early records. Is really, really good. And I also
he had a band with the guy who created the
Yellow Magic Orchestra.
Yeah, they were in the big band.
Was Takanaka? I'm trying to. Was Takanaka do something with
Mika Band?
Sadistic Mika Band.
Yeah, I saw that. Reminded me. I remember them.
That was their band together.
Yeah.
Well, Sadistic Mika Band was
playing. Jim, do you
No.
have music playing?
no.
Who has music playing right now?
I mean,
Am I going to mute each person? Because here's my first culprit.
I'll
here.
mute myself.
I think it's Jim.
Jim has music playing in the background.
I was doing some thumb pick with my.
Oh wait, it was. I'm sorry, Jim. It was the horrible Elliot.
Well, it's usually Jim.
Well,
Just,
okay. I want to look
that
this.
Andy
I
Kim
want to look
guy.
this up now.
This has been a
Fuck
good.
you, Elliot.
Oh,
Just
you're getting
kidding.
the Andy Kim cartridge?
I mean,
You mean that in the nicest way, right, Jim?
no. When else could I say that? That was
I have a
perfect time to
question
say
for the
that.
peanut gallery. Who has a full diaper right now? Oh,
Oh.
Rich does. He does.
Okay, wait. Rob, I want to correct you. So I thought this was incorrect. No one from Yellow Magic Orchestra was in Sadistic Mika Band.
No. It was the other band Mazzy just said. No, wait.
It's a Sadistic Mika Band.
I was
but
watching a video. It was not.
So Masayoshi Takanaka was in Sadistic Mika Band.
Yeah,
But the guys from Yellow Magic Orchestra were not in Sadistic Mika Band.
Right.
They
Sadistic
were in a
Mika Band.
band. I watched the video thing this morning. They were in a band together.
correct.
Okay. No, Sadistic Mika Band, the main force behind Sadistic Mika Band was Kazuhiko Kato. So it was him and his wife, Mika, who formed Sadistic Mika Band. And the really shitty thing is that the band broke up because Mika,
They
so
got
their third record, they went to England and got the record produced by this famous British producer. His wife Mika cheated on him with that producer and ended up marrying him and broke up the band.
Can you imagine having a
Oh,
Saturday night and you refer to your wife as Sadistic Mika? I mean, that's a hot night.
Sounds like a parallel to Yoko almost.
I
Yeah.
used to always. That's from the late '70s. I remember that band.
Yeah,
reminds me of the first time I had sex.
We had a guy in our store that.
Well, wait, was Takahashi in Sadistic Mika?
Yes.
Oh yeah, he was. Oh,
That's
okay,
what-
never
that's
mind.
the whole point of this.
Would you stop trying to make me look stupid and then make myself look stupid?
Yeah, some guy in my store used to play that that band all the time, and I used to love the name of the band. I never picked it up, unfortunately, but I used to love the name of that band. I thought it was.
They've got some good records. I really like the main songwriter and guitarist for that band, Kazuhiko Kato. I really like his solo albums. His solo albums from the 70s are really good. He's got some that are folk rock, and he's got some that are more like cinematic, world music-y type. That is really, really good. His story is really sad. He ended up committing suicide in the early 2000s. Very tragic musician.
That's a bummer.
So I know we're almost over here. So Thursday is it the big record store day?
I'm gonna do. If anyone would love to join, Thursday I plan on covering all Record Store Day to help people make up their mind. Because personally, I have not even decided what the hell I'm doing that day. I think I'm gonna start the day at Canterbury and just work my way around at other places. That's kind of what I'm thinking.
I have a question for the panel. What is like the go-to stuff for Record Store Day this year? Because I kind of browsed the list and I didn't see anything that I like.
Really?
Flat duo,
Depends what
yes.
you want. It
Flat
depends
duo,
what kind of
yes.
music.
Alive,
I have-
alive in
Everyone's
America,
everyone's
Steely
talking at
Dan.
once.
Alive in America, Steely Dan, first time on vinyl.
Okay, that's one. Is
Flat.
that going to be all analog?
Abby
Uh,
Lincoln.
I doubt it. It's from their 93, 94 tour.
Camper
okay.
Van Beethoven covering the entire Fleetwood Mac Tusk album from 1983, first time on vinyl, in a very lo-fi, twisted around, quirky way.
Michael,
Hey,
Michael, Flat Duo Jets.
Lowell George tribute album is excellent. My video's up now, showcasing the Grateful Dead, Captain Beefheart, the
Francois
Little
Hardy
Feat,
in English.
Lowell George,
the Gene,
Oh, that might be cool.
the Muffs,
Gene
Muffs
Soul
live
record,
radio
first time on,
broadcast.
or second time on vinyl.
Because my buddy Brad gave me all his stuff, but the Francois Hardy in English they're putting out.
You know what's surprising is that Baltimore soul band. That is fucking great.
Isn't that good? The
Yeah.
Bob Barney.
Is it
The
called
Bob
Baltimore
Chords.
Soul Band?
The Chords.
No. So
They're a
Omnivore
blue-eyed
bought,
soul band.
Omnivore bought the catalog of Cadet, or it's a Baltimore record
Not
label.
Cadet.
Yeah, that they put out mostly singles, but this band, it's really good.
They're like a white Smokey Robinson and the Miracles at the time of Smokey Robinson.
But a lot of
They
their
play
music
together.
was popular as part of that Northern Soul.
It's like the North. Yeah, it's an excellent
Yeah,
record.
the stuff they got exported. Yeah.
That
Yeah.
Pink Floyd, is that the Wall tour live in LA?
It's the bootleg one that's in the big box set. I have the big box set, so I'm going to skip
Okay.
it. It's actually a really good sounding record, but it's coming out individually, which pisses people off that bought the record or whatever. But I think it's great it's coming out individually. But I wouldn't go there first if you don't have the other Pink Floyd
And you
record.
got the second Dada record, of course, right?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Is that getting a wider release or?
And
Not
only
as
North
of now.
America. Only North America.
You know what? That's very good. It's very good. It's very
Yeah.
good.
I did
Um,
not get the meditation mixes, at least not yet. I don't know if I'll get it, but I have.
Did
not.
you see
Where
the?
is Oh, sorry.
Well,
Go
we're
ahead.
doing this on Thursday.
Yeah.
Okay.
Where did Joey get that Dada record pressed? I'm curious as
it's
to.
Well,
like-
he didn't get it. It's Real Gone Music. It was pressed at Got a Groove.
Got a groove.
So
I think that's
what do
where
we?
Real
What do
Gone does all
we?
their presses, doesn't it? Don't they?
I've got a question because I've got a teaser for you folks, and it's I'm kind of in charge of producing an album on vinyl right now, and what do we all think of Got a Groove? Is Got a Groove pretty solid?
Very good.
Yeah.
If you need to talk to Shane at Intervention, he's just Got a Groove now. He loves
Well,
it.
you know-
Everything I've gotten from God a Groove has
Don't
been
forget Paramount
well
Crossing in
pressed.
Denver.
So that was
Fidelity
my first
also
choice. Paramount.
is fantastic. Fidelity.
Fidelity is which one is that?
Paramount.
That's the
Oh,
MoFi
yeah.
one in
I
California.
sent them an email. They haven't emailed me back. So
They're probably
Good.
so booked, Michael. But let me tell you, what Can Brown, that Pepper Adams record they did was that Got a Groove, and it was 180 grams.
yeah, I think we're using Got a Groove. Unfortunately, I don't think we're doing 180 gram. I think we're doing standard because it's just like we have a very limited budget.
You don't
What
need.
I
benefit-
wanted
what
to use-
benefit
I
is
wanted to use-
180 gram. What
140
true
is fine.
benefit is that?
Yeah, 140 are good.
Yeah, so I basically had to decide what mattered. So I'll give you guys a teaser of this. I'm not going to tell you what it is, but we wanted to use Paramount, but Paramount gave us a quote that's $2,000 more than Got a Groove.
Wow. Okay.
So it's just I have people above me looking at numbers, and so
Sure.
this isn't my personal project. I can't just splurge.
Sure.
So
Shane
Got a Groove gave us a
Shane
really
switched
good
from
quote.
180 to 150 grams. So you'd have talked to him at some point. I can introduce you
Yeah.
if you want.
Shane is at
Intervention. That's his label.
oh gotcha
And
yeah.
he's an Audio Quest cable rep.
I love Intervention
And Lycra, what is it called? Lycra cartridges.
Lyra.
He'd
Lyra's
represent.
good.
Like
Audio Quest, man, they make the best power cables I've ever used. Anyway, so
He's down here in Gig Harbor.
so this project is getting it's a digital recording. It's getting mastered and cut by Dave McNair. If anyone knows Dave McNair,
Yeah. I've heard of
Yeah,
it.
so he's doing it. He's doing it for us, and then we're probably. My guess is so far the only person that's given us a quote more affordable than Gotta Groove is GZ North America Paramount, or not Paramount, Precision. But I think we want to stay in the U.S. I don't think we want to do.
Gotta Groove.
Yeah, so I think we're going to use Gotta Groove, and then hopefully
Michael,
I'll have
there
a.
is-
Will it be pressed mastered separately for vinyl, separate from the
Yes,
digital
so
press?
Dave McNair is taking the original mix and doing a analog console to lathe mastering.
So,
So
Michael,
it's an 8844 or 8824 master, so it's digital, but it's getting a good analog cut.
Well, as long as it's mastered specifically for vinyl, there shouldn't really be an issue, should there?
Well,
No, yeah, and lots of good digital records nowadays.
Michael,
there's no
there is
benefit of
a
180.
there is a boutique pressing place in DC that a lot of people like.
What's it called?
That furnace?
I think Mazzy knows the name of it.
It's,
more
or it's
than I
furnace in Austin. What's the one in Austin? Heat? No. Heat.
I'll-
And
I'll-
there's
do.
there's one in Asheville as well.
Yeah.
What's the
There
name
is.
of
I
it?
did. You're not talking about Citizen vinyl, are you?
Hold on.
Rosebud. I don't know.
No, I think we're probably. I think at this point we're probably going with Gotta Groove because
Yeah.
they've expressed willingness to do all the paperwork rigmarole that we
And
require.
apparently they're
So-
a great people to work with.
It's
According
Furnace.
To
It's Furnace in DC.
That's why I said,
Okay, I haven't contacted them, but
This
I'm
is
gonna go with Gotta Groove.
yeah.
I did manage to find a Canadian of this. This is a Canadian
Oh.
press.
Oh God. Okay. I think we're in overtime now.
One update, Rob. We had talked about. I showed you that poster, Gallagher Guitars poster with Doc Watson on it that I got. You were asking about Gallagher Guitars. So after the show, I did a little research. Gallagher Guitars are built in Eastern Tennessee. It's only changed hands once since the mid 1960s. The father and the son ran it until 2015 or so, when the grandson took over, and the grandson ended up selling the company to someone that lived nearby that has kept it going. And I've talked to the guy on email a couple of times. So their Gallagher guitars usually run between $5,000 and $6,000. They can of course go a lot higher, but they just started two new models based on an early prototype that they built called the Shelby. There's the Shelby Folk, and then there's the Shelby other, and they're a little less expensive. They run about $2,800 per guitar. So now I've gotten the itch to get one of these Shelby Folk guitars.
Before we leave, Elliot, you've left out the most important thing about Gallagher guitars.
Yes.
You can smash a watermelon with them.
Oh no, I knew it was.
I would never smash a watermelon with a Gallagher guitar.
It's
All right.
a joke.
Shit.
It's a joke. Yeah.
Thank you. And if you want to tune in, if you want to stay on, I'm going to close down the stream. Elliot will talk about Gallagher guitars for another 20 minutes.
See you Thursday.
Yeah, have a good one, everyone.
Bye. Thank you, everyone, for coming.
See you,
Good
everybody.
talking, everybody.
Bye.